Welcome to the Bayou Bingo Fantasy Network, where you'll find everything fantasy football. From rankings, sleepers, breakouts, and everything in between, we've got you covered.
Ready? And here we go!
Every episode is one step closer to you winning a championship. If your goal is to win, you're in the right place. Here's your host, Troy Lofton, right here on the Bayou Bingo Fantasy Network.
Welcome to the NFL. Let's go! Let's go! Go!
Yo, welcome into another episode right here on the Bayou Bengal Fantasy Network. This time we're going over some Draftkings picks. I want to go over some of these guys that I really do like, somebody you guys can put into your lineup, whether they're really good or really high projected type of players or even some sleepers. Let's get right into it because we have a lot of information to get to. Right here, if we're looking at the quarterback position first, we can start out here with Jalen Hurts going against the New York Jets. I'm liking what Hurts is giving you. He has such a high floor because he gives you so much rushing upside. He's got some killers on the outside, and AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. Things are looking really good for Jalen Hurts. Like I said, he gives you the high floor. If we go ahead and look at his breakdown, his game log, 31, 27, 21, 26. He's giving you the really good consistent type of numbers that you can get week in and week out. He's playing really well. I like what he's giving you this week at 8,200. He is the highest quarterback on the board. There are some other quarterbacks here like Tua and Justin Fields and such that we can get to, but I think right now, if you want to pay up for a quarterback right now, Jalen Hurts is probably your guy. The next guy, let's go ahead and go down here, probably to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence he's going against the defense, giving up the 25th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks, coming in at 6,500. The Indianapolis Colts, they just don't have a defense, I think, that's going to be able to stop Trevor Lawrence. Even looking at his game log, 20, 16, 15, 10. So if you're looking to go a little bit cheaper than somebody like Jalen Hurts, I think Trevor Lawrence is in a great matchup this week, going against Gardner Minshew and those Colts. I think somebody that, like, if you want to tag him up maybe with a Calvin Ridley or Christian Kirk or so, really kind of develop yourself some type of correlation, I think Trevor Lawrence is a really good opportunity for you. If you just want to drop a little bit lower than that, let's go over to somebody like Joe Burrow going against a 23rd ranked defense to opposing quarterbacks. Right now, as far as DK points go, that's at 6,300. Just save you a couple $100 there. Joe Burrow finally kind of broke out last week. He was doing really well. If we look at his game log, he was just doing like 3, 16, 9, 5, not doing well whatsoever, and then all of a sudden, boom, he had an explosion game without T. Higgins on the field, mostly him and Jamar Chase linking up. 27 DK points, 27.38 DK points last week. I think he can continue to do so this week against the Seattle Seahawks. I think I really do like him for the quarterback position. If you're looking for a pay up, probably my favorite pay up ish type of play, 6,300. I really like him. Going right below him, Matthew Stafford. I think he's going to have a really good game this week against Arizona, going against a defense giving up the 28th most fantasy DK points to opposing quarterbacks, coming in at 6,100. So like I said, you're getting a lot of little tidbits here, whether you want to go with Hurts, whether you're going to Lawrence, Burrow, Stafford, all good options here towards the higher end of the quarterbacks. But if you want to drop yourself down just a little bit, let's scroll down here. And where is he at? Let's go right here. Gardner Minshew at 5,000. I really like this play going against his old team in Jacksonville. Jacksonville giving up the 27th most DK points to opposing quarterbacks. And Gardner Minshew, not too bad. He was able to throw 44 times right here just a couple weeks ago when he started against the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm telling you right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is not close to what the Baltimore Ravens defense is. Yes, he only put up 13 DK points, but I think that he's able to maybe even eclipse the 300-yard passing mark against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to want to sling the ball, and if he's going to throw 44 attempts, I'm looking at him to complete a higher percentage than just 27 of those. You might be looking at 35 to 38 completions. That should put him over the 300-yard mark. If he gets you a couple touchdowns, boom, you got yourself somebody that's going to get you 25, maybe even 30 DK points at somebody at the 5,000 salary point. I really like that opportunity. So if we want to move on along here to the running backs position here, the first guy that I want to talk about, probably the highest guy, would be probably Alvin Kamara going against the Houston Texans. They've given up the 23rd most DK points to opposing running backs. I do like what he's been able to do since he's been coming back from his suspension. 21-18. They're giving him the ball quite a bit. 11 attempts in his first game back, but remember, he also had 13 receptions to go with that. Really good production with 21.4 DK points, and then 22 rushing attempts against the New England Patriots. What do you think he's going to do against Houston? I really like the opportunity that Alvin Kamara is going to have this week going against that Houston Texans defense. I really like that part. So another guy that I'm super excited about, probably my number one running back on the week right now. We're talking about Raheem Mostert. We got to remember, Devon Achane is not going to be in here this week. He's going to be injured. So Raheem Mostert is going to be the main ball carrier type of guy, and coming at 6,400, absolute steal, going against a defense of the Carolina Panthers, giving up the 31st most points, DK points to opposing running backs. And Raheem Mostert, got to remember, before Devon Achane was there week 1 and week 2, let's kind of look at that production a little bit. He had 10 carries for 37 yards and a touchdown week 1, and then he busted out of the scene, 18 carries for 121 yards, 28 DK points. He's able to give you 45 DK points the next time. Look at this type of production as what he can probably give you without Devon Achane here. I really like Raheem Mostert this week. So if we drop down just a little bit more, probably to 6,100, I like another one, DeAndre Swift here, taking on the Jets defense, giving up the 24th most points to opposing running backs. Liking what he's doing. They're giving him the ball a lot. He's 17 carries, 14 carries, 16 carries, 28 carries. This guy is very consistent, 16, 17, 17, and 30. He's giving you that high floor that you need at the running back position. Running back position in general is pretty volatile, in my opinion. And if you can grab somebody like a DeAndre Swift and Raheem Mostert, that's a great balance to start your DK lineups with. So the other guy that I want to kind of touch on, he's probably a little further down right here at Alexander Madison against the Chicago Bears, giving up the 30th most DK points to opposing running backs. Yes, he dropped Charlie. He used to be in the 70% as far as snap count. Now he's probably around 50%, 54%, somewhere in there right now with Cam Akers on the field. But still, I think this defense is so bad that Alexander Madison could give you some good opportunities, and I'm not really worried about Cam Akers. They're not really feeding him the ball as of right now. Let's switch over here to the wide receivers now. First wide receiver I want to go to, probably way at the top here, Cooper Kupp, going against that Arizona Cardinals defense, giving up the 25th most DK points to opposing wide receivers. He came back on a vengeance, $9,000 price tag. Yeah, it's really pricey, but I think it's worth it for Cooper Kupp, especially if you want to tack him on there with Matthew Stafford. So if we look in here at his game log, 22 DK points on his way back, 12 targets, 118 yards. Love it. If you could have gotten to the end zone, I mean, you're looking at 28 DK points pretty easily, 28 to 30 DK points. So this guy is a phenomenal wide receiver. I think 9K is a good price tag to pay for him. I even like Puka Nacua, his Batman and Robin type of play. You can go Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua for DK, and I think that's a good way to start as well, especially with Matthew Stafford being a little bit cheaper as far as the quarterback range goes. I'm going to drop one below here. I like Jamar Chase again. He should be the only wide receiver out there, and even if T. Higgins is able to give it a go, I think that Jamar Chase he hit his stride. He's ready to go. He kind of blew up last week. He should be able to continue to do so against the Seattle defense, give it the 32nd most DK points to opposing wide receivers. We kind of look at his game log a little bit. 55 points last week, massive. He had 14, then 29. He's able to give you those boom games, and I think he's going to give you more boom games than bust games this season from here this point on, as long as Joe Burrow continues to dominate, and I think that he will do so. So let's go over to the next guy here. Let's drop down just a little bit to Calvin Ridley, going against the Colts defense, giving up the 24th most points, DK points to opposing wide receivers. He's a stud. He's somebody that Trevor Lawrence looks to early and often. He gets the targets, 8 targets, 7 targets, 8 targets, 11 targets. The only one we wasn't worried about is Atlanta. He only had 2 targets, but he had a really good cornerback he was going against, kind of locked him up a little bit. The Indianapolis Colts don't have any kind of cornerbacks that can lock up Calvin Ridley. Look for him to have another probably dominant week this week. Get Calvin Ridley in your lineup. Let's look at another guy here, DJ Moore. I'm liking what he's giving you, going against that Vikings defense, giving up the 31st most DK points to opposing wide receivers. Justin Fields looking at this guy. It doesn't matter if you give this guy a 1-yard hitch route, he can take it to the house, So that's somebody you want to look at, especially in DK points. And he's been consistent on that high ceiling for you, 52 points and 30 points in the last 2 DK games. Look at the target share, 10 targets, 9 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets. They're throwing the ball to him quite a bit. And what I really like is those chunk plays. Look at his longs, 58-yard long, 29, 33. He's getting those long plays, and that's what you really like. And that's the exciting part about fantasy football, is when you get a player that can actually do that for you. So next guy coming down here, let's scroll down to Adam Thielen, going against that Miami Dolphins defense. The Carolina Panthers are going to have to throw the ball a lot, even to remotely keep this close. I don't think they're going to keep it close. I think Miami's going to blow them out, but that puts them in a negative game script, and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. And Adam Thielen is the main target. He gets the most targets on the team. Going against that Dolphins defense, they are giving up the 23rd most points to opposing wide receivers for DK points. So you look at Adam Thielen, look at his target share, 13, 8, 14 in his last 3, 30, 15, 34, 20. He's a good one to have on your team. Get him in your lineup. I think you'll be happy if you did. Next guy I want to talk about here is Jordan Addison. Really like what he's going to be given here. I know he's got a sprained ankle right now. He missed Monday's practice, but we'll see if he's going to be out there. Questionable right now. Going against that Chicago Bears defense, we have to remember Justin Jefferson is on IR. He is not playing. Jordan Addison is the #1 wide receiver for this offense, and I really like what he can give you. 9 targets and 8 targets in 2 of his last 3 games. I really like what that is. It did say he was a limited participant in Thursday's practice. So, I think we just have to be on the lookout for Sunday morning, see if he's going to be active for this game. If he is active, Jordan Addison is an amazing play right there for your DK team. So let's move right along here. The next guy, let's go over here. Probably Drake London right here for the Washington Commanders, going against a defense giving up the 28th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Look at Drake London. It's not going to be amazing type of numbers, because look at his quarterback in Desmond Ridder. So when you have a quarterback like Ridder throwing you a ball, you can't expect him to be just phenomenal and just blowing the doors off everywhere. But he can get it done in certain games, and I think 4,800 is a good price tag for a #1 wide receiver in this type of offense. He can easily probably get you, 10 to 15 fantasy points at that 4,800 price tag. So if you're trying to save a little bit on wide receiver, Drake London could be your guy. Let's scroll down here a little bit. I do like Josh Downs here. Josh Downs taking on that Jacksonville defense. I think is going to be just fine, giving up the 22nd most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. If we look at his game log here, 15, 5, 13, 7. Like I said, he's not going to be blowing your socks off with how amazing he is, but I think he's a good play at 4,100. He could be pretty phenomenal. He has more rapport with Gardner Minshew than he does with Anthony Richardson. And with Minshew starting this week, you could possibly see a nice little breakout game from Josh Downs. Be on the lookout for that guy. And the last wide receiver I want to go over, where is he at? I think he's scrolling right here. Jonathan Mingo going against the Miami Dolphins defense. We talked a little bit about Adam Thielen. I think Mingo will be a good play as well. We look at his target share, and he's getting back there behind Adam Thielen. 7 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets, 5 targets. He did miss week 4, but that's okay. But he's giving you a nice little floor, anywhere between 5 to 10 fantasy points, what you can expect from Mingo. But at the 3,500 price tag, almost bare minimum price, I think that's a nice little savings if you want to throw him in on your flex, or if you're looking for that 3rd wide receiver. Let's move right here to the tight end position. The first guy I want to go over is right here at the top, TJ Hawkinson. And if you guys looked at my video for my Bengal Tiger start of the week, it was TJ Hawkinson going against that 25th most DK points to opposing tight ends in that Chicago Bears defense. And again, Justin Jefferson not going to be playing. So Justin Jefferson not being there, who's going to be the main targeted guy? Well, it's going to be TJ Hawkinson. It's going to be Jordan Addison. So Hawkinson should have a massive game this week against the Bears. Get this guy in your lineup. It's worth paying up for Hawkinson. We go a little bit lower here. Dallas Goedert going against that Jets defense, 32nd most DK points to opposing fantasy tight ends. Goddard's doing pretty well. He had a really nice game last game, 28.7 points on 9 targets, 117 yards, and a touchdown. I don't expect you to have that type of game this week, but you can easily see him between 10 to 15 fantasy points. I think he's a good tight end to have this week. If we want to scroll down, another guy, Zach Ertz, he's been the target monster this year. But now he gets that goal against that Rams defense, giving up the 29th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Looking at his game log and his targets, 4 targets, 10 targets, 2 targets, 8 targets, 10 targets. He's getting a lot of targets, and he's giving you that safe floor, probably close to 10 fantasy points for a tight end that costs $3,600. I think that's a steal. I think he's somebody you definitely should probably get into your lineup. Look just a little bit lower down to this. A guy that I really like this week is Logan Thomas, going against that Atlanta defense, giving up the 31st most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. If we look at his target share last week, he had 9 receptions on 11 targets, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Broke out for that 21 points per game. I do like that Sam Howell is going to need somebody, a safety blanket other than Terry McLaurin, and I think Logan Thomas gives him a big body type of tight end to do that too. So you could possibly see another solid game here from Logan Thomas. I'll probably have him in quite a few of my lineups as well. I want to talk about a guy here in Jonnu Smith, going against the Commanders defense here. He is questionable right now. He has that ankle injury. He was limited participant, so you have to make sure you check on Sunday to see if he's available. Check this guy's out. Check the target share out for a second string tight end behind Kyle Pitts. 7 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets, 6 targets, 11 points, 15 points, and 2 8s. So he can give you that baseline for 3,400. Hello, I think that's a smash play if he is active. And the last guy that I want to go over for the tight end position, let's go right here. It's going to be Noah Fant taking on that Bengals defense, going over the 28th, giving up the 28th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. And this is somebody, if you want to really punt the position, he is by no means a stellar play, but he's going to give you some type of floor where he can give you 8 points, 8.6 points. So somebody, if you really want to punt, you just need to fill somebody in just for that $3K price tag. I think Noah Fant could get it done for your lineup. Let's talk about defenses a little bit here. What defenses do we like this week? We obviously like the 49ers defense going against those Cleveland Browns. I think that's just a stud play. We don't have to go into that too much. You know the 49ers defense and what they can provide. The next defense down here, I probably want to go against the Dolphins. They're taking on that Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young. Bryce Young's not ready right now. He's still trying to process things. I think that's going to be a really good lineup this week. They're going to be forced to pass quite a bit because the Dolphins are going to be scoring, and that means those defensive ends can just put their ears back and go and get after the quarterback. Could see a lot of sacks this week from the Dolphins. I like them at 3,500. The Saints defense, I do like the Saints defense this week. They kind of turned it on last week, and I know they're going against somebody, CJ Stroud, who doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't throw interceptions, but I think this is the first week you see CJ Stroud do throw an interception. I think the scheme that the Saints run is really, really nice for them to go against Houston, and being they love playing rookie quarterbacks. Look for the Saints to be one of the top defenses this week. Don't get scared over this red right here. Don't worry about that. Look at the matchup, and I think it's going to be well worth it. And the last defense I want to go over here is probably the Commanders defense, taking on that Atlanta defense, or the Atlanta offense with Desmond Ridder. Hello, I mean, this dude is not a very good quarterback. I think the Commanders defense could be pretty nice this week, going against that Falcons offense who's giving up the 26th most fantasy points to defenses. I really like what we see out of that. And now we want to switch over to the end of this video, where I want to say, please hit the like button. It really helps out the channel. We need to get our likes up on these videos to help push it out to more people so we can get more people into the family. Hit the subscribe button if you're not currently subscribed right now. Really helps out the channel so we can continue to grow, getting close to 700 subscribers here on YouTube. And I just want to tell you, like I tell in every video, can't wait to see you guys on the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week this week in week 6. And we'll see you guys next time.